Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Riyal Deal Plus, coming to you from the Al Arabiya English studios. Now, as Saudi Arabia closes in on its Vision 2030 targets for tourist numbers, we're going to find out about two electrifying sporting events, bringing in visitor numbers like never before. We're going to be finding out about the opening of the third season of the E1 series, the world's first all-electric raceboat championship, which has been held in Jeddah. I'll be talking to the managing director of the E1 World Championship in just a moment. And there's a growing excitement ahead of the Formula E World Championship, which returns to Jeddah in mid-February. I'll be speaking to the Formula E co-founder and chief championship officer about what this combination of speed and spectacle brings to the kingdom's economy. And the Saudi region of Qasem gets a winter tourism surge drawing visitors like never before. Now, Saudi Arabia welcomed an estimated 122 million visitors during the course of 2025. That's up 5% on the previous year. And the figure shows that the 2030 target of 150 million annual visitors is very close to being realized. Well, tourism spending is also now reaching around the 300 billion Riyal mark, highlighting the sector's growing role in the economy. Well, sporting events are a big part of that appeal. In 2034, Saudi Arabia will host the Football World Cup. Before that, there's a long list of other sporting events, not to mention the 2027 Asian Cup and the 2029 Asian Winter Games. Well, there is also the E1 in Jeddah, which is the world's first all-electric powerboat racing championship, which is going from strength to strength. Well, following on from last year's E1 Grand Prix, the 2026 edition of the Jeddah Grand Prix features 10 teams racing the all-electric E1 racebirds along the Red Sea. Well, new entries like Team Monaco and Sierra Racing Club join elite competitors, including Team Rafael Nadal, Team Alula, and Team Drogba. Well, as well as being a thrilling high-speed competition for fans, the championship has a strong focus on sustainability. Well, for more, I'm joined now from Jeddah by John Williams, who is the managing director of the E1 World Championship. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, John. Just tell us, first of all, how this all-electric raceboat championship in Jeddah came about in the first place.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Thanks so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to talk to you and join the show. So the championship was first started in 2020 by Alejandro Agag and Roddy Basso, both of whom had kind of deep involvement historically with Formula E as the championship, and have since gone on to establish the Extreme E Championship and then E1 more latterly. So we launched with our first race in January of 2024 here in Jeddah. Really exciting for us to be returning for our third race here, so the third year in a row. We always like to kick off our championship here. It's a really, really special place for us. And as you mentioned, very exciting championship year ahead with 10 teams, 2 new teams from last year, and we've announced a big and exciting race calendar for this year.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear the excitement in your voice, and clearly, I've read some of the articles where you're quoted. You've got lots of ambitions for this. Talk us through the growth of the championship.
Yeah, I think what's important to us is growth, but sustainable growth. We've kind of been able to demonstrate that in a few metrics for us. So year on year, our race numbers are growing. We had 5 races in season 1, 7 races in last year in 2025 season 2, and this year a calendar of 8 races. Our teams, we're growing. We're at 10 teams now. We have a sort of self-imposed cap of 12 teams that we hope to reach by the end of next year. I know this is a business show. Financially, my background is a finance one. What we're trying to build is sustainable growth, a profitable company, and working towards somewhere in the region of €500 million euro valuation over the next few years.
Right, and what's the feedback you're getting from the fans? What did they tell you about what the appeal is?
I think what we were able to do, I think that one of the unique selling points of this championship is each team has a celebrity team owner. So as you kind of mentioned at the top of the show, that is exciting, is reasonably unique in sport. Lots of other properties are doing that at the moment. With that, we bring their audiences already into the sport, and that is a huge asset for us. I think what we're able to offer that some other sports aren't. With the electric nature of our boats, our racing is able to take place very close to the shore. So the fans are really right on top of the action, which is quite rare, especially for water sports. So we believe we can offer something that is very different to anything that's out there on the market at the moment. The boats are a sort of brand new product. The racing is exciting. For our racing, it's a team sport. Each team has one male and one female pilots who race completely evenly over a race weekend, contributing exactly the same way. And we have, complete gender parity in the sport, which I think is incredibly rare.
Okay, so clearly those big names that we've already sort of mentioned, a couple of them, have brought a lot of momentum to the event. Lots of people involved, aren't there? There's the Saudi Water Sports and Diving Federation, there's the Ministry of Sport. There's also the Public Investment Fund, the PIF, which is of great interest to us on this programme. We talk about what the PIF is doing and saying a lot. Now, what's the value of events like this, in your opinion, to the Saudi economy?
Huge, and it's great to recognise the support of those partners. I mean, here in Jeddah for 3 years in a row now, we've had fantastic support from the Ministry of Sport and the Saudi Water Sports and Diving Federation, and the PIF, really, from the championship as a whole. They're a key investment partner in the championship. They're a title sponsor of the championship as well, and we drive lots and lots of different activations with them, including Driving Force program, which we run with the PIF E360 program, which is a sort of STEM learning and sustainability program aimed at children between the ages of 8 to 18. In terms of, hopefully something that we bring back as the championship, there's the sort of direct impact on the economy, and as we bring our events here in terms of hotel room nights, food, local employment, things like that. Hopefully we're giving back to the region. I think what's important to us is not necessarily just the immediate impact, but that longer term commitment. That's what this Driving Force activation is about, is bringing children from all ages, teaching them about some of these career paths in engineering, technology, and hopefully some of them in sports to be future pilots of E1, and hopefully to try and get them interested in some of those career paths. And so there's a slightly more indirect and more gradual payback, hopefully, to the economy, as well as the sort of more direct stuff. We are lucky, like we talked at the top about our really incredible group of celebrity team owners with their following, the exposure from them around racing in the region, we believe is also invaluable to the kingdom.
Right, and we've talked on this programme quite a lot about how tourism numbers have really gathered momentum in the last few years, and there's this ambitious target for 2030 tourism numbers. And I mean, what sort of importance do you think sporting events like yours have in terms of meeting these ambitious goals?
I would say very important. It's eyeballs on the region. It's not just the people that you're bringing into the region directly to see the race or take part in the race, but it's those eyeballs, isn't it, that everyone's kind of fighting for. Our broadcast product is broadcast across 230 territories worldwide, and that's lots and lots of people seeing this, beautiful Red Sea coastline, seeing what a beautiful country Saudi Arabia is, and everything that's here for people to come and enjoy. So I would say sports events very, very important, as well as giving something back to the local communities as well, who can enjoy them locally.
Yeah, the Red Sea coastline, obviously the focus of a lot of investment and the focus of a lot of attention amongst tourists around the world who want to come and see it. Is there anything that makes it suitable for your event in terms of the terrain, the water, the depth of the water? Do these things play a part?
They definitely play a part. I would say we're lucky in our championship that there are kind of few barriers to entry, I would say, in terms of where we could race, albeit We want to be racing in beautiful parts of the world. We want to be racing in places that look amazing, on our camera, on our broadcast stream, on our, social media posts. And the Red Sea very much fits into that bracket. There's lovely, calm, still water here, which is brilliant for our race birds. They're best suited to calm water without many waves. And we're very lucky to have that here on the event site here.
Okay, and I mean, we've been talking about electric sports in Saudi Arabia quite a bit, and it does seem, doesn't it, like Saudi Arabia has become quite a champion of electric sports like yours. I mean, what do you see as its role?
I think, the Kingdom's been a great champion of it. You can look across lots of other championships. I know the Formula E is here in Jeddah in a couple of weeks' time. Another company that we're partnered with, Extreme H, had their very first hydrogen powered championship race just at the end of 2025. And I think what Saudi Arabia are doing is really looking to tangibly invest in these really, really important electric mobility, whether it be electric, hydrogen, understanding the importance of those and how those sports are likely to grow as we move into the future. And I think it's, refreshing to see a country that is, like I say, really tangibly investing in that and showing how important it is, rather than just a bit of a sort of soundbite around the importance. It properly kind of putting its money where its mouth is.
Okay, well, we really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. Thank you very much indeed. John Williams, Managing Director of the E1 World Championship. Thank you again.
Thank you, Tom. Pleasure to be on.
Well, staying in Jeddah, there's growing excitement ahead of the Formula E World Championship, which returns to the Red Sea city in mid-February. Well, fans can expect high-speed action and immersive entertainment. Well, last year's edition was seen as a great success, the perfect mixture of speed and spectacle. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now by the co-founder of Formula E, who is also the Chief Championship Officer, Alberto Longo, who joins us from Madrid. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Alberto. First of all, can you just tell us, why do you think Saudi Arabia has become such a key stop for Formula E?
Well, such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me and representing, my company, Formula E. The Kingdom is such an important country for Formula E. But first of all, because we feel you guys made us feel like we're at home, And why I'm saying this is we were the first international event that came to the Kingdom, back 8 years ago, actually. We have started doing races in Riyadh. Now we're racing in Jeddah. Definitely, we love being there. The whole ecosystem of Formula E, not only us as promoters of the championship, but the manufacturers, the teams, the drivers, they all love being there. And definitely, we're here to stay, and we will be in the Kingdom for many, many years. Our good friend, the Prince Abdulaziz, the Minister of Sport, he was absolutely critical in a positive way, to get us to the Kingdom. And definitely we thank him so much, and the Ministry of Sport, and because of all the years that we have been there, and as I said before, all the good years that are coming as well.
Sounds very exciting. Now, the Formula E World Championship is going to be in Jeddah in mid-February. Give us a little teaser. What can fans expect this year?
Well, first of all, I mean, it's me obviously talking as a founder of Formula E, but definitely, I see Formula E as the biggest entertainment motorsport platform in the world today. Why I'm saying this? Two factors. One, on track. Whoever comes to see the race, and we had the pleasure of hosting more than, I think it was 20,000 people last year. Hopefully this year will be even a bigger figure. All these people, we have two key things. One is having excitement during the race. There is going to be a lot of overtaking. We had more than 200 overtakes last year during the races. Actually, we do two races during the weekend, one on Friday, the other one on Saturday. And entertainment is guaranteed on track because of the amount of overtakes and action. but also off track with the concerts, with a lot of activation from global sponsors that will absolutely love for all the people here that come to the race. So everybody in the ecosystem looking forward to get there. I'm actually heading there 5-6 days before in order to finalize all the organization and everything. But as I said before, also because you guys make us feel like home, and definitely it's this date in the agenda that is always marked, like a very, very special date.
Yeah, Alberto, you're painting the picture of basically a whole weekend that's sort of built around it. It's not just the cars, is it? It's the entertainment, the cultural experiences. But this is a business program, and I'm just wondering whether you could give us a flavor of what you think the value of it is to the Saudi economy.
Well, yeah, actually we do impact studies to economical impact studies to all the cities that we go to, and we have an average of around $85 million per weekend. So this is how much money do we leave into the cities that we go to. This is an average. There are some that are 110. There are some that are 65. In the case of Jeddah, it's in the region of 80s, 80, 82. I think it was the last one that we did last year. And that is a mix of obviously people coming from abroad, that will follow Formula E wherever we go. The expenditure that these people do in Jeddah, from transportation to hotels to hospitality to obviously to restaurants, etc., etc., etc. Then the actual expenditure that the Formula E does into the country, and the most important thing, which is the media factor, And definitely last year, we had the record-breaking audiences in Formula E all year long. We had something like 650 million TV viewership during the whole year. We broke the figure of 400 million fans last year as well, 420 million fans actually in the world. Only in Saudi, I think we have something like 4.6 million fans, out of which 47% are female, which is this rarely happen in motorsport, which is a sport predominantly for men, but we are changing that, and definitely we are very well balanced, in terms of gender.
What about younger audiences? Are you managing to appeal to the younger generation as well?
That's a very good question, and actually it was like kind of one of our first target that we had. I come from motorsport. My business partner as well. We both come from combustion motorsport, Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, and we saw that fans were getting older and older and older. More kind of my age. 50, 55, 60. That's kind of the average age of in other form of motorsports. We managed in only 11 years. This is the 12th season. This is the 12th season that we're starting now. And we managed to get that significantly down, all the way down to 27 years old average age. So we're so proud of that. With us, I believe motorsport has a future, in terms of we keep on attracting younger audiences that have never been attracted by motorsport, like what I was saying before, women, and definitely that guarantee the future of the sport that we love.
Okay, and I mean, I can sort of picture the Jeddah Corniche while you're talking, and that circuit is pretty iconic. I mean, is there anything about the Jeddah Corniche circuit that makes it unique, would you say, compared to some of the other stops on the Formula E calendar?
Well, I mean, also for Formula 1, we're talking about the fastest urban track in the world, and that happens to us as well. And it's unique. It's just by the sea. It's the infrastructure is absolutely unbelievable, amazing. In the what Ministry of Sport does there, it's incredible as well. The resources that they put on the human resources that they put on every single event that they do there. I mean, they make this race very special, very special. I have been there also in Formula 1. I have been there in almost every other event that they do, and I can say, it's definitely in the top 3 events in motorsport in general. So we're talking about whatever Formula 1 or us, or it's definitely one event that the people will always remember and always want to go back. I think it has to do a little bit also with how the kingdom is opening to the world today, and that's critical. That's so important, and we feel very proud to be part of that journey as well. Because we were the first one of opening trying to open in very humbly, obviously, to the kingdom to the world, and bringing foreigners. I remember back then, 10 years ago, we thanks to Formula E or to the people that actually brought Formula E, obviously, we were the first people who had a visa, an international kind of visa that could get into the kingdom without kind of a very special process. So we did. They did for us an amazing process, which was digital, super fast, super quickly. That now everybody is using, and that, as you can imagine, that makes us feel so proud.
While you were talking, I was reminded of one of the questions someone in my newsroom was asking earlier on, which is, do you see at some point, and you mentioned Formula One, do you see Formula E somehow replacing it?
Well, I think we're sitting where the industry is today, and I'm a big fan of Formula One. I don't want Formula One to be smaller than what they are today. But what I foresee is that Formula E growing and growing and growing and growing. That's it's happening today as we speak. In the first 11 years of history of this championship, we are not competing, but we are out there together with championship that has been in the market for 75, 80, 100 years. And we are already the second most important championship in the world. That's when we talk about cars, racing cars, obviously. And that, again, makes us feel so proud. But we're not looking at anybody else. We're just, trying to get our own ladder, our own way to success. If eventually we're going to be bigger or not than Formula One, that time will say. Technology is evolving more rapidly, obviously, in EVs than in combustion engine cars. The industry has swapped into electric quite a few years ago already. So we're sitting where the industry, where the manufacturers are. And eventually, I would say that we will be, at least as big as Formula One. No?
And just listening to what you're saying there, Alberto, and I'm trying to visualize, the driving skills that are required in Formula E, and I'm wondering to myself, how much of it is about driver skill? How much of it is about technological innovation in Formula E?
That's actually a very good question, and it doesn't have to be one or the other. We really want both of them to happen. I'm a strong fan of a human championship, meaning the driver is the one that needs to make the difference. On the binomium car driver is the driver who has to be, the one that make that difference. But definitely, we need the car to be faster and faster every time. What I don't agree with is those championships that actually make big differences in between different teams, and definitely doesn't make it competitive. I can tell you, in 12 years of history of Formula E, in 11, because we have finished 11 seasons, we have had 10 different world champions. Only last year, more than 70% of the races were won by different drivers. So that tells you how competitive our championship is. And we have massive manufacturers in the championship, like Porsche, like Jaguar, like Nissan, like Mahindra, Cupra, from the group Stellantis, we have now this year Citroën. So we have massive brands, but they are so tight. It's so competitive that a single mini mistake will put you, back in the grid, and that means that someone else obviously is winning. Therefore, I would say that both things are absolutely critical for Formula E: the development on the car and the driving skills. It's not one or the other. We believe in the opposite. Okay. Both needs to work.
All right, thanks for answering that question. And just lastly, looking ahead, how do you see Formula E growing in Saudi Arabia?
Well, we will, we are always subject to what, His Royal Highness, want us to be racing. So we have been racing, as I mentioned, in Riyadh, now in Jeddah. It sounds like eventually we could be racing, also in Qiddiya in the future, which is, we will be delighted to, to follow the leadership of His Royal Highness. We just want to grow the number of fans, year on year. Again, we have been there now already 8 years, so definitely, the sport is growing. When we got there was very little fans to single-seater championships. Today, we have quite a lot. Obviously, Formula One is also going there and helping to grow that awareness about single-seater. The fan in Saudi Arabia normally is more into rally, into off-road championships, which is absolutely amazing as well. So how do we see ourselves growing? First of all, keep on going there. It's absolutely critical, having at some point a technology or a manufacturer coming from the kingdom, that will be fantastic. And we are talking to one of them. Eventually, having a driver that will make a big difference, because we all want to have a local hero in a race. But definitely, I think keep on doing the things the way we are, keep on being competitive, keep on having people having fun in our races. I think is so important to grow that fan base in the kingdom. Definitely a key target for us.
All right, well, we really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. Co-founder of Formula E and the Formula E Chief Championship Officer, Alberto Longo. Thank you very much indeed.
Very, very, very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for all the support, and hopefully I'll see you and everybody else in the race in just a few weeks.
And finally, the Saudi region of Qasem is having something of a winter tourism surge, drawing visitors like never before. Well, the Qasem winter season includes bustling heritage villages, traditional markets and desert adventures, meaning there is something for everyone. Well, with upgraded infrastructure and services, Qasem has become a year-round destination, bringing Saudi Vision 2030 to life, as this helps to diversify the nation's economy. Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you very much indeed for watching the Riyal Deal Plus here on Al Arabi English. Look forward to seeing you again next week.